That is a beautiful song. Thank you. Thank you. So, hello, everyone. It's been a while since I've been here. It's wonderful to see you again. Sending love and prayers to Bernard Karen. So, this month your theme is miracles. To talk about miracles, we have to do a couple of things, really. We have to suspend our worry, doubt, and fear. We have to suspend our skepticism, our pessimism. We have to step out of our ordinary perception of life, because you won't find the evidence of miracles on Fox News. You won't find the evidence of miracles if you are just around the water cooler at work, because that isn't what people focus on. It's not what's talked about. So to be a person who finds them, who sees them, who experiences them, who causes them, we have to wake up to something deeper, something more. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science Mind, said that practically the whole human race is hypnotized because it thinks what somebody else has told it to think. Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith said that until we awaken out of the hypnotism, we are sleepwalking through life. So we come here on Sundays to our classes and to movie nights, whatever it is that we do, we come here to awaken out of the hypnotism of life. Now, how many? I may be the oldest one in the room. Not the oldest, but up there nonetheless. And here's the gauge. How many of you are old enough to recall the days of audio cassette tapes? Cool. Maybe I'm the youngest one. Well, if you do, you may remember in 1971, a company by the name of Memorex created a commercial. And in this commercial, the tagline was, "Is it real or is it Memorex?" And the commercial was Ella Fitzgerald, singing a song which broke a glass. Right? She hit a note, and when she hit the note, the glass shattered. And the point of the commercial was that they used Memorex, this audio cassette tape, to record her voice, and when they played the cassette tape back, it too shattered the glass. And the point being, I think, was that the recording was equally as potent, or equally as, that it captured life perfectly. And I want you to know that that just ain't so. That the recording of life is never as good as the real thing, ever. So we need to make a distinction before we go on. And the distinction is a very important one. And by the way, this, at some moment, I love deep metaphysics. And I love it because I think that our being here, the work that we do and the study that we do should be practical. That it should actually make a difference in our lives. Really, it should. That if we were actually in the presence of everything that we say and believe and practice and study, our lives would reflect the miracle that life is in every area of our living. So I always want somebody to kick me in the pants. I always want to kick you in the pants. Like that, we want to really step into the experience. So that is the distinction. That as we navigate this life together, we are either in the concept of life or the experience of life. We're either in the idea of a thing or we're in the presence of a thing. And we want to be in the presence of a thing. Now, Eckhart Tolle said in his book, The Power of Now, a belief may be comforting, but only through your own experience does it become liberating. I will also left the word in there, does it become transformative? That only through experience can a thing change you. Now, this is all very easy and practical. Eating an orange is not the same thing as a picture of an orange. Right? That it's just not the same thing. Or eating an orange, seeing somebody else eat an orange is not the same thing as you're eating an orange. Because there's something about the orange that you can only get when you are eating it yourself. You know, I'm a wildlife photographer, and I've spent many days in Africa, in many different places, and I take pictures of animals' faces, very close up. Leopards, lions, hyena, and people in my life love my pictures. And I love that they love my pictures. But what I know is that there's really no way to convey, or for that person who's looking at the picture to feel what I felt when I'm in the presence of the leopard, right? And I can see it and smell it and almost, see its eyelashes. Now, this is just a distinction to make in life, that there are two ways of experiencing things, either as an idea or as an experience. And certainly when we're in our relationship to life and our relationship to whatever word you use to describe as an ethical intelligence that is everywhere present, that we claim over and over again every week that it is in me, it is living and moving and having its being is in me, and I am it, and it is me, and life is good. It's one thing to have those words, and it's another thing to have the experience, yes? So life itself is a miracle. I just had a personal miracle in that I have a younger sister who I absolutely adore. She's about 15 months younger than I am. She had what is a stroke. It's called a brain hemorrhage, a brain bleed. And she had her 67th birthday on January 19th. She had the brain bleed on January 20th. And she is out today with no effect. She's walking, talking, thinking, back to work. And the doctors are calling her a miracle. They said it just doesn't happen. That people, she had I don't know, it's very terrifying to me. She had a tube in her brain draining blood, and she's out. And it's been 4 weeks. So part of what we do here is we practice expecting good things, right? We come here, and I have to work with myself, because when it's close and personal like that, it's easy to forget that what we think and how we think matters. So, believing something to be true is not the same thing as knowing it to be true. And as we walk through these teachings, we walk through the classes, we walk through the practice. I was spoke at a Unity church yesterday afternoon, and a licensed practitioner came up to me, and this is truly what she said to me. She said, I know all this stuff and I believe it, but I'm just having a hard time with politics. And I said, well, join the crowd. Everyone's having a hard time. Some people are having a hard time, some people aren't having a hard time. I said, but here's the thing. Here's what we practice. God is love, unconditional love. And if God is unconditional love in you, then it has to be true that God is unconditional love in everyone. Because if it's not in everyone, then it's not true for you either. So it's either true or it isn't true. Right? So what do you do with that? How do you take that and apply it to every area of your living? Right? How do you actually walk that walk and talk that walk? How do you walk that walk and talk that talk? Because when you do, it's liberating, it's transformative. It leaves you in peace. So I have been reading Deepak Chopra's new book. Has anybody read it? It's called Metahuman. Oh my God. Put it on your list. It is, I love it because it's, first of all, it's deep. Are you familiar with Deepak's work? Yes, of course. It's deep, and he's talking about, meta means beyond. So technically the title's Beyond Human. And he's talking about what's possible for us as human beings, like what's possible for the world, what's possible for the planet, what's possible, like what is possible if we step out of the hamster wheel of life, so beyond merely human. And he talks about it in a non-religious way. So he doesn't talk about God, he doesn't talk about religion, he doesn't talk about spirituality, he doesn't talk about any of that. He talks about science and the miracle of science. Actually, I think why my sister's example was important to me is that, if you cut your finger, right, if you slice your finger cooking, and you keep that wound clean, right, you don't have to do a thing, and it's just going to heal. You can sit there and watch it and you're going to see it knit itself back together. It's a miracle. It's a miracle to think that you can eat an orange and it's going to go everywhere it needs to go in your body to keep you alive and healthy. Because we did not make ourselves. We did not do that. If you take all, you can imagine taking all the people off the planet, all 7 billion of us. Just take us off for a minute. Take us to Mars. And you were to just look at the planet itself, you would see the miracle that it is. Everything, the animal life, the bird life, the sea life, the photosynthesis, thermodynamics, just how intelligent and organized it is. It is a miracle. And we don't see it on a regular basis. We don't feel it. We don't appreciate it. Because of what happens. Deepak talks about a very particular thing in his book, which I was really inspired to share with you this morning, which he calls, the book is called Metahuman. He talks about metahumans living in a meta-reality. So meta meaning beyond, so beyond normal reality. And how, and really the accessibility that's there for us to actually do that. Now, he refers to the reality that we live in as, how many of you saw The Matrix? So it's kind of like The Matrix. The Matrix was like, began to point to the artificial nature of the construct of our lives. Artificial, not meaning not real, but only as real as perception and projection can be. And in virtual reality, like Memorex, like virtual reality is the 2020 version of Is It Real or Is It Memorex? In virtual reality, they try to construct a reality that fools you into thinking it's the real thing, right? That however you experience this reality. Your body responds, your brain responds, your emotions respond as if what you were experiencing was really real, but it's not really real because it's synthesized for, in this case, probably our enjoyment. But Deepak's point to this book is we live in a virtual reality that we did not synthesize for our enjoyment. It's simply been synthesized. Is it too deep? Are we going too deep here? All right, so how many of you have read Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements? So he talks in this book, and there are many, the Buddhists talk about the conditioned mind versus the unconditioned mind, and there's many traditions and philosophies that talk about this idea. But I love how he does this in this book, because he talks about how we are domesticated. That when you arrive on Earth, right, when you plop out into time and space, that the entire world's goal is to teach you what it means to be you. All right, so you're given a name, you're taught what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. You're taught all about the world, people, money, and all of it becomes your reality. And that's just how it works here. It's just how it works on planet Earth. That you're going to come out and somebody's going to teach you what it means to be you. And then we go through our whole lives believing that that's who we are. Like that's the you that you are. But do you realize that if you have been born to different parents in a different country, in a different culture, in a different financial state, or a different location, you would be someone else, right? So that there is a self there is someone that we are that is beyond the self that we believe ourselves to be. Now, it's not easy. It's not bad, by the way. It's not bad in the same way that a picture of a lion is not bad. A picture of a lion is amazing. It's just not the lion, right? Your friends go to Paris and take a picture. Let's do it this way. Nobody would argue that the Eiffel Tower isn't real. Nobody in this room. Of course the Eiffel Tower is real. Why is it real? Well, it's been in movies. We've seen pictures of it. You were taught about it in history class or geography class. So we argue that the Eiffel Tower is real. But I'm going to tell you, how many people have actually been to the Eiffel Tower? Those people know it's real. Yeah, the rest of us just think it's real. Or just believe it's real, right? Because if you haven't had the experience, it's not real for you. It's an idea. So most important things live for us as ideas. Happiness as an idea, health as an idea, abundance as an idea, not necessarily a transformative reality. Now, so the miracle that's possible for us is when we awaken our mind, when we awaken, and by the way, the first step is to really understand that is to make this distinction. There's another very important thing to do here. It could annoy somebody, but just don't get physical with me. You can frown at me, just don't hit me. We are not right. You are not right. So we believe. So the source of all conflict, the source of all dis-ease is the belief that you are right, that what you think is true. And by the way, this is simply just domestication speaking, right? That every single person has their own individual reality based on their own individual domestication, which is not the same as anybody else's. Now, we do have some collective sharing of ideas, which makes the virtual reality, that piece of our reality, even stronger. Like, if we all agree that it's really good to wear purple, then we'll all wear purple, and we'll think that purple's better. And we'll argue with other people who wear green. And we might go to war with people who wear green. We certainly will judge them, right? So one way of leaving here today and begin to play with this idea, because I promise you that if you practice the experience more often than the concept, like really to be in the experience of something, miracles become every day for you. Happiness will become natural for you, because it is natural. Life is a miracle. So one way is just to know that Miguel Ruiz says this in the first sentence of this book. He says, I want you to forget everything you've ever known. Forget everything you've ever been told, so that you can have a new idea. Jesus said, be ye not conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And we don't do these too much anymore, so he just says, don't try to fit in. Don't try to play the world's game. Don't try to fit into what the world says is good or bad or right or wrong, or what should make you happy, what should make you sad, what should make you... Don't try to do that. Simply wake up. Right? Simply think a new thought. But it takes practice, because there was also a place, I can't remember, I'm not very good at quoting Bible verses, but there's another place where Jesus said that in order to reach the kingdom of heaven, which is merely, in this philosophy of faith way of life, we view heaven and hell as states of consciousness. When we are connected to ourselves and to life and to our source, whatever that means to you, we experience heaven. When we are separate and in an argument with reality, we are in hell. So he said, if you want to find your place in heaven, you have to come out from among them. Simply, you have to come out from among you have to get out, I'm going to now translate, go right into Deepak Chopra. You have to get out of virtual reality. You need to see differently. You need to hear differently. So personal reality, each person's is based on perception and projection. So we perceive things a certain way, and we project our opinions and beliefs a certain way, and we do that together, and it keeps things stuck. One of my favorite quotes is, possibility is not real at its origin. So possibility is not real at its origin. It's something we create as real and then stand for as a reality. You want to
say that again?
Yeah. So, possibility is not real at its origin, right? Simply means, we do all the time. That we do how many of you do affirmations to change conditions, right? So you got no money in your pocketbook, and you start creating a new possibility for yourself, a new relationship with money, and you start by creating a new possibility that isn't real when you start, right? Because there's no money in your checkbook. But still you say, I am abundant. I live in an abundant universe, and the abundance in the universe is mine now, right? We say those things. So possibility is not real at its origin. And that's true for all possibility. Because there's either predictability or possibility. That's it. Life is either a rerun or it's a new creation every minute. So this metahuman, meta-reality, is a new creation every minute. It's like approaching life with a capital R. So I'll finish it. Possibility is not real in its origin. It's something we create as real because we can. Leopards cannot create possibility, nor can rocks. We do. Humans are unique in that we can do that. So we create possibility, and then we take it. Possibility is not real in its origin. It's something we create as real and then stand for as a reality. So when you do the affirmations, right, I am abundant, what do you have to do? You have to walk the path of abundance. You have to stop telling your poverty story. You have to study prosperity teachers. You have to, when you go to the store, before you created the possibility, you would buy the substandard Oreo cookie because it was 10 cents cheaper. Right? So you're going to go buy the real deal and pay the extra 10 cents. Why? Because you're standing for the possibility you created in your affirmations and in your journals and on your vision boards. So we're going to back up again into this idea of belief may be comforting, but only through your experience can it liberate you. So be willing and committed and interested in pretending for a minute, or just taking a stand for a minute, that what you think you know, challenge what you think you know, challenge what you believe, challenge how you think the world is. Just be willing to say, well, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe there is something more. Use the word because sparingly. So here's what happens with the word because. I would have more money, but I don't because. And whatever follows the because is part of that domestication that is within your subjective or subconscious, that you may not know why it's there, but there it is, regurgitating itself again into your life. You could say, I don't make a lot of money because I don't have a college education. Well, do you know that there are lots and lots of people who didn't have college educations who make lots and lots of money, right? But that's their perception, their projection. You have your own. So use the word because, just use it sparingly. Just notice that you're creating your personal reality every time you say it. Also, don't tell your story too much. You know the one we tell? We all have a story. I've been doing this for so long, and people have stories why their life isn't a miracle. My life could be a miracle if my parents get divorced. Or my life could be a miracle if whatever the fill in the blank is. Your life can be a miracle regardless of any and all of those things. In fact, your life is a miracle. You just don't see it. So we need to wake up out of virtual reality into reality. So, at Centers for Spiritual Living, we have amazing concepts that, they changed my life. I walked into my first, it wasn't called Centers for Spiritual Living then, but it was called a Church of Religious Science. Walked in my first Church of Religious Science, happened to be the Agape International Spiritual Center, actually. And I walked in there at 45. I walked in there 40 pounds heavier, smoking tobacco cigarettes, married to a cocaine addict. More. I could give you more. I was in the 80-20 plan, but so here's the 80-20 plan. I was 80% miserable and 20% happy. Right? So I spent 80% of my time worried, mad, afraid, mad at my parents, mad at life. 80%. 20% were some highs, right? When you begin to do the work and to open, now I'm on the 80% happy, 20% miserable, right? Like, I had a couple of miserable moments when my sister had her stroke. And I was like, oh my God, like a few really bad days. But we want to shift it so that 80% of the time you are grounded. Because if we can do that, if you can do it for you, the world can do it. If you do it, like, what makes us think the world can have peace if you can't have peace? You have to do it first. So here are some really wonderful things Center for Spiritual Living says, that you want to move from an idea, it's a really great idea, to actually experiencing it. So we teach that there is a transcendent reality, intelligence, and organizing principle that is the back of everything. That we call it God, but you don't have to, because God implies, God, I was thinking about this driving up from Fort Myers today, that God, when we say the word God, we think of it as God's like a noun. Like there's God, like a mother, a teacher, a friend, and that it has a location. But we are maturing, that we now understand that God, that it's still ineffable. Ineffable means hard to understand, but it's not a wizard. It's not the Wizard of Oz, the wizard behind the curtain, right? It's deeper, and it's within you. It is you. You are it. You are not separate from it. We teach that you are a birthless, deathless, eternal being. Isn't that a great idea? That who you are is eternal. That your personality, your consciousness, your everything that you are transcends the body. You lay the body down, but then off you go into an upward spiral of becoming. That God is good all the time, right? Do we all say that? God is good all the time. What you are seeking is seeking you. So whatever it is you're wanting wants you. That's such a great idea. Abundance is your divine birthright. You are unconditionally loved by life. You are not broken. You are whole. Oh, we are, whole, perfect, and complete. Nothing broken, nothing missing, nothing to fix. You don't have to prove yourself worthy to God or anyone. You were born worthy. You were born an original blessing. The universe is conspiring for your good. Everything that happens to you happens for you. These are all great ideas. So the invitation is to move these ideas from concept to experience. To, prove me now, saith the Lord. Prove these things in your life. Because if you do, it will liberate you from whatever has you in bondage. So you want real. I want real. I don't want Memorex, right? I don't want a recording of life. I don't want to live my life experience. But a good one for all of us now, since you all know this 1971 commercial, is do you want to live the way virtual reality says a 60, 70, or 80-year-old is going to live in this country? No. We want to be youthy, right? We want to prove that every age is a good age. Every age is a vital age. And we're not pretending health things don't happen to the body. The body is temporary. It has an expiration date. But you don't have an expiration date. I was talking to this group yesterday about Bruce Littman's new book, The Biology of Belief, where he says, he's a cellular biologist, and he says that when you think fearful, angry, revengeful thoughts, your brain secretes toxic chemicals into your body, which then causes dis-ease in the body. Right? Cancers, all of them. All that your body, it's not good for you. And if you think loving thoughts, compassionate thoughts, kind thoughts, your brain secretes healthy, healing chemicals into your body which heal these conditions. So I think there is lots of scientific evidence that if we change ourselves, if we awaken to a greater possibility in our lives, that we will be happier, healthier 90-year-olds. And Bruce Lipton. It's called The Biology of Belief. So, and you don't want virtual reality. We want the miracle. There was another book that began to talk about this a little bit called Course in Miracles. It was from a Course in Miracles teacher called The Disappearance of the Universe. It was a very, very, at the time, deep, like I could not wrap my head around what he was saying. But he was saying exactly the same thing, that do not get trapped in the negativity, the worry, the doubt, the fear that we as a whole human community engage in. That we have the possibility. In fact, I'm going to close with my favorite quote from his book, which is this. He says, you can step out of virtual reality anytime you want, and no one will even notice. So, just possibility is not real at its origin. We declare it. So just declare happiness as your way of life, as unconditional love as your way of life, as joy as your way of life, and then walk that walk. And it is true that if you get too happy, you are going to piss somebody off. There's somebody in your life who's not going to like you happy, right? Or it's nothing personal. It's a personal perception, personal projection. But you have, Ernest Holmes said, change your thinking, change your life. So if we do it, the rest of the world will do it too. Thank you. I'm going to pray. I'm not done yet. I'm going to do a spiritual mind treatment for us. So I just invite you to turn within with me. We do not turn within to beg reluctant deity to do anything for us. We turn within, we close the outer eyes to let the world, people, places, situations, circumstances, anything heavy on your heart that you brought in here today, anybody in life that's misbehaving, just simply allow it all to be outside. As we open our inner eyes, and as we open those inner eyes, we gaze into this space and place and dimension within us that is eternal, that is timeless, that is birthless, that is deathless, that is connected, that is loving, that is real, with a capital R. And I know that as you and I turn within to the space and place and dimension within us, this is where we find God. This is this ineffable intelligence and wisdom and order and harmony that connects us one to another, that leaves us fully alive, fully connected, that eliminates any illusion of separation, any illusion of otherness, any illusion of anything less than a miracle. And so I know that as we join together in this space, that I can speak my word into a receptive universe that is going to catch it. It's going to catch the word I'm speaking, and it's going to go about the business of manifestation. And I speak my word for and about each and every person here, accepting the challenge to wake up, to experience, to see the flower as a flower, to see the sunset as a sunset, to see the love that is the love, to not be fooled by appearances, to not be fooled by the cranky person, because in there is love, and in there is joy. And in that moment, when you see it, you will call it forth. And so I stand with you as we look into a world, and invite it to awaken. We are here to awaken consciousness, personal and global. And so I trust, know, claim, and proclaim that as we leave here today, we leave here more awake, more alive, more real. That we know the difference between ideas and reality. And in this knowing, we are liberated. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful to speak this word. I'm grateful to release it. I'm grateful to stand and a consciously connected community as we go about the business of creating a world that works for all. And so with great love and great gratitude, I release it. Invite you to accept it wholly for yourself by joining me in saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you.